Welcome to Lead Different.
Today's episode is about something we don't talk about nearly enough in leadership and business: the integration of faith, work, and daily life. So many professionals feel like they have to separate those parts of who they are: faith in one place, work in another, family somewhere else. But what if leadership and professional excellence could actually become a place where all of those things come together? That's exactly the vision behind Solé Atelier. My guests today are Carolyn and Mariana Madigan, sisters-in-law and co-founders of Solé Atelier, a Catholic lifestyle brand that is rethinking how modern professionals approach their work and their daily lives. What started as a shared idea to create a beautifully designed, faith-centered professional planner has grown into a broader mission: creating tools that help people bring intention, clarity, and faith into the rhythm of their everyday work. Carolyn brings a background in education, marketing, management, and fashion, and she leads the brand, vision, storytelling, and customer experience, ensuring every product reflects simplicity, beauty, and purpose. Mariana is a mechanical engineer trained at MIT, an operations supervisor at McMaster Carr, and an MBA candidate at Kellogg. She brings the engineering precision and operational excellence that transforms a vision into scalable, high-quality products. Together, they're building something really unique: tools designed not just to organize your schedule, but to help you live and work with greater intention. In our conversation today, we talk about entrepreneurship, faith in the workplace, the power of intentional planning, and what it looks like to build a business rooted in both excellence and purpose. So if you've ever wondered how to bring more alignment between your work, your values, and your daily life, I think you're going to enjoy this conversation. Let's dive in.
Why not leadership? Why not lead different?
Welcome to Lead Different, the podcast that redefines leadership and challenges the status quo. Hosted by Daniel Dominguez, founder and CEO of Why Not Leadership. This show is your compass to becoming a better leader through the power of self-awareness. Good leaders foster teams that are engaged, empowered, and energized. Join us on this transformative journey as we equip you with the tools and insights to lead different. Get ready to challenge the ordinary and embrace self-aware leadership. This is Lead Different.
Subscribe now. Discover a new era of leadership. Lead different, because great leaders change the world.
Let me bring them on stage and let's talk to Carolyn and Mariana. How are you guys?
Thank you so much for having us, Dan. Great.
Doing well.
I know. Listen, this is such a fun interview because I can't remember. Oh, I met you guys through. So Carolyn, your dad introduced us, Mike Madigan. I met him through Scent. We were on a probably a speed networking event, and he said, you've got to meet my daughter and Mariana. So I'm so glad Mike made that connection, and here we are a few months later interviewing you on the Lead Different podcast. Welcome to the show. I'm going to give you guys each a chance to introduce yourselves. So Carolyn, why don't we bring you on first and tell us a little bit about you and what got you involved in this project?
Great. So as you kind of mentioned already, my background is in education. I did a lot of volunteer management. I'm newly married, less than 2 years, and I have a little 16-month-old boy. So wife, mother, I'm one of 7 actually. So the oldest of the clan that you met my dad of. And right now, I had moved to a different country at this point. And so Mariana also was pregnant around the same time, married around the same time. And we said, hey, we have a little bit of free time. We can start this creative project that we had been dreaming about for years in the past when we were both single and just friends at the moment. So that's where we're at right now. We're just wrapped up year 1 of our planning stage to having sold and created our first 2026 Solé Atelier planner.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that a little bit more, but let's bring Mariana on and tell us a little bit about how you got involved and the background that you bring in. We know you're an engineer by trade, but tell us a little bit more. And then you're at Kellogg, which is, just a little, it's real easy to get in there, right? So tell us a little bit about your story.
It's been great. So as Carolyn mentioned, during the time when we met, we were just single and friends at the time. I was actually dating her little brother at the time, and now who's my husband. And it's been great to see like how the time passed, and as more life responsibilities built up, we got married, we had kids, I was working and studying. A lot of things were being juggled at once. And so that's when I remember thinking on maternity leave, okay, I think this might be a good time for us to actually get this started. So I reached out to Carolyn at that point. And I kind of, with that extra time, found kind of a framework that we're using to like set up the business and everything. And so we got it started with more confidence, more time, more ability to give it our all. That was a dream a few years before. So it's been really fun, and already seeing how it's been able to help me and others balance all these different things. So yeah, it's been a great adventure so far.
So, and then you're also operating internationally, right? So Carolyn,
Yes.
we're recording this today, but you're in Honduras. Mariana, you're in Chicago. How long have you been in Honduras? How do you guys work all that out? Tell us about your working arrangements, since you guys are in two different countries. Tell us a little bit about that. How do you face those challenges? And then I want to hear more about the launch story, because I bought one of their planners, guys. By the way, if you are looking for a great planner, I actually had mine personalized, but this thing has everything you need to plan your year. I used it in my CEO retreat with the CEOs that I work with. Every single one of them, we had our team personalize them, but it is a great planner. So we'll talk more about that, but tell us about the challenges of working in two different countries, or if there are any, because you guys are in the same time zone, I hear.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's actually been wonderful. So we've been in two different countries for almost 2 years now. And I think kind of the beauty of the setup that we have is we're both kind of in the same stage of, we're new moms, new wives. And so there's a lot of mercy for each other, but also this integrity of accountability. And I think that's kind of why we created the planner, because we knew we had these big dreams and visions, but we wanted to be accountable to these goals that we were setting. And so even with each other, the check-ins, our understanding that, hey, I'm texting you now, but it might be dinner time, so feel free to get back to me later. And also just using the FaceTime. We realized actually throughout the time that we've been working together that we needed to add in some time to just like catch up and be like, how's life going? Because we're getting too much into the, okay, next task. And now we're on this, we need fulfillment and plans. So it's definitely been a learning process. What do you think, Mariana?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think it's fun that we were already family and like good friends first. And so there's a lot of that. But like Carolyn said, we are both super excited and passionate about this project, that a ton of our calls ended up being meetings. So we're kind of learning that balance now of when to have the meetings versus catching up. But also there was a really exciting moment in the middle, which I think really helped have a crux for us, that I was able to go visit Carolyn and she was able to visit. And so that was huge for us to just have in-person time again. So refreshing. That gave us that momentum to get things going before the launch.
Yeah, that it's so easy to get stuck in Zoom, FaceTime, and digital communication, because that's kind of what we grew used to during COVID. But there is a certain great aspect to seeing each other in person and making it a habit to meet in person. I know, Carolyn, you come up to Chicago for an extended time, at least once a year, I hear. And Mariana, you got to go to Honduras, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And and then there's family. So there's so many dynamics here that we can talk about. But I gave a little introduction to the planner. Can one of you tell us, if somebody's looking for an amazing planner that they want to use to keep track of their goals, keep track of their daily and weekly tasks, wins and losses, lessons learned, all those things. Tell us a little bit about the planner. Who wants to take that question?
I can take it. Oh, you want to? We're both really passionate about it.
Now, why don't we hear from Carolyn, and then Mariana, you add anything that she missed, or maybe that's different from your perspective.
Perfect. So the way that we designed it was thinking about who's going to be using it. So our ideal customer is somebody who's a practicing Catholic, so they already know their faith. There's not going to be kind of basic faith aspects in it, but it's going to be an integrated life. And so we're saying, how can we take our day, our entire day, look at it through the lens of being a child of God and a strong professional. And so we start off the planner by creating a yearly set of goals. So we did it that there's 4, so you could do 1 a quarter, or just overarching goals. So it could be familial goals, cultural, spiritual, physical, financial, kind of whatever you decide for those 4 buckets. But then this accountability piece. So we have then each month a habit tracker. So then the idea is to break down those big, massive goals into concrete things that I can check off. Yes, I did, or no, I did not. And then the idea isn't just to have that list, but then each month to reflect back on it. So we have some white space to be able to say, hey, these were my goals. Was I able to meet them? And if not, what was inhibiting me from meeting it? And maybe do I need to make something more simple? And so the idea with these goals are incredibly, incredibly basic. And so maybe you want to work out. That's your overarching goal, to be more physically healthy. And so the first month you're going to say, I'm going to get up with my alarm clock at 5:30 and have a water bottle like full of, to get myself like going. And then the next month you'll add in some sort of stretching routine, but kind of basic things to be working up towards that. And then each day we also have a resolution piece. And so kind of to live this examined life, to look back over and say, like, how was my work? How was I working towards these goals that I also have and I want to hold myself accountable to? And I think the fact also that it's physical, we both also use Google Calendar, but it's so important because it's writing down kind of and committing to a piece of who we are. It's not an easy delete system. And it's saying, I want to do this and I'm going to make the effort to do it, which can be very scary. But at the same time, it's very healthy that we're saying, like, okay, I have these big goals and maybe I'm not reaching them. So who do I need to talk to? What do I need to do to be able to get there? And then outside of that, we also have this grandiose view of the month that includes the intentions of the Holy Father, includes the saints' feast days. So kind of a reminder too, that we're not at this alone. And we have this like life of faith and rhythm that we can be living within that, so that we are a more integrated whole person. And we're not, 9 to 5 at work, and then I practice my Catholic faith, and then I'm a good friend to my friends and a good family member and so on, but that it's all interwoven. We also added after each week spaces that are just completely blank for your own creativity, but also for reflection. For us, we use it for our time of prayer. And so we jot down notes to kind of have an idea, like, where am I going? Where does God want my day to be? And also to reflect. And then after each month, we have time for reflection. To help that ordered piece, we also have a monthly schedule outline. And so to create those routines or systems that are helpful for your family or for yourself as an individual. So setting that morning wake up time, that starting work time and ending work time. Many of the saints said, one of Blessed Alvaro, they used to say about him that it was amazing to work with him when he was in the Vatican and they're working on documents for Vatican II, because he always started on time and he ended on time, and then used that time well as a gift. And so how can we learn those human and supernatural virtues and integrate them into our work? And then at the very end, we have space for an examination of conscience. So also something you can read through monthly. And then different aspirations and prayers you can add throughout your day and work. And so the prayer to St. Joseph, the worker, we have aspirations. So these short prayers that can help you recenter your day if you realize you're getting scattered or losing your sense of peace. And then that exterior is very simple. So the idea is that you're not wearing a badge necessarily saying I'm Catholic, but that interiorly, this product is helping you bridge that human and divine. And so you're working one-on-one with your relationship with God. And then through you living it well, you're able to affect those around you.
That was a really good overview, man. I feel like, and for those of you that don't have it, I guess what? You got to go to soleatelier.com. Is that the right?
Yes.
Right? Soleatelier.com. We'll put it in the show notes so you guys can find it. But walking through it as you were talking about it, Carolyn, was so good. I'll tell you the parts that I like, and then I want to hear from Mariana from her side of it, because I know she helped really organize it. And I want to hear the story about the dots and the lines. But one of the things that I really like is, sometimes we get these planners and we build these goals and you have these daily routines. What I like about yours is you can change those daily routines every month. And those habits that you want to do, the habits that you wanted to focus on in January might be different in February, might be different in March. So it's nice that if you want to just carry them all over, that's fine. But you get a chance to kind of review them. And the daily routines are so important. So many of us struggle with that morning routine. Okay, so we're going to get up, we're going to pray, we're going to work out, we're going to go to mass. Those things are important. You're going to have breakfast. You got to actually put it in there, so you do it. But then there's also the end of the day is important. If you don't close out your day, you can't enjoy the evening. That is what I found. So having the planner tell me, okay, what do you got to do at the end? Did you do these things? where am I going to do that thing that I didn't get to, and actually have a place on the calendar allows me to relax and then be home. And so we definitely want to talk about integrated life. So those are some of my thoughts. Mariana, tell us what did Carolyn miss, or what would you like to expand on that maybe we want to make sure people know about this amazing planner that you guys created?
Yeah, I think one element, she kind of outlined all of the pieces in it really, really well. And one thing I love about how we designed it and what made it different is, as we talked to women early on when we were in the process at the beginning, which was my favorite part, when we reached out to over 100 women to kind of get an idea of what they were looking for, what really became clear is that planners are very personal, right? People like different planners for different reasons. And a lot of them that have a lot of structure and a lot of things in them that you need to fill out sometimes can feel a little too much or overwhelming. And so one thing that we think is really special about ours and that people have appreciated is there's the essentials, but there's also a lot of flexibility. And so it's not necessarily a certain element in there, but the way it's designed, that we were intentional with the space and the blank pages. Even in the weekly view, each box is pretty significant with how it's designed. So you can put a to-do list and a little reflection in there. So I think that was one of my favorite pieces that really makes it different than a lot of the other ones I've seen. And that makes it more versatile for me with where I'm at in my life. Maybe some weeks I need a little more of that reflection time versus some busy times I need my to-do list and my schedules written in there. So that flexibility is huge, and people have appreciated that.
Yeah. One of the things I want to ask is, because I showed you, we had a chance to talk pre-show. I showed you the planner I used to use. There are tons of planners out there. What makes yours different, and why should someone who's a leader, a Catholic leader or a Catholic business owner use this planner instead of the other ones? What are some of the things that make it different? I think Carolyn talked a lot about faith aspects of it. What else make it different?
Yeah, this planner, it definitely is also very portable and compact. I think the size is essential to be able to bring with you no matter where you're going. And so we love that aspect of it. And the faith, truly having the professional resources in there to help you plan and set your goals and actually achieve them through the habit tracking and everything, but always centered on what's most important, which is the faith, is very unique. There isn't a planner that integrates both of those aspects, so that throughout your day, while you're working, while you're at home doing your chores, or reflecting at the end of your day, you have those reminders sprinkled throughout. Because, being busy, working moms, there's a lot to pull you away throughout the day and a lot of distractions. And so we realize you need those simple little reminders. So for example, in the weekly spread as there's a quote from the gospel of each day, because,
right,
if you're going to daily mass and you've got kids or you're rushing to work right after, you might have missed the gospel, or like you forget it throughout the day. So a little reminder to help you ground yourself in the mass throughout the day. So definitely the portability to have it with you, and the faith and work aspects throughout it to make sure you're living that integrated life throughout your day.
And I would say within that, we also worked with optimal work. And so it's helping individuals, professionals strive for excellence and kind of reframe situations so that they have that end goal highlighted. And so for us, even the way that we designed the planner, the end goal is sanctity. And so for any leader, sanctity also requires obviously a numerous amount of virtues. And so as a leader, it's not that you're flashing a badge saying that I'm Catholic, and precisely like we designed it. So it could go from the boardroom to the chapel, to your home, to the cocktail hour. But at the same time that it's helping you as that reminder of like, where am I directing my life, my work, my joys, all the rest, which way is it going? Am I on that track so that I'm able to give of myself more generously to the others that I'm serving?
No, that is really fantastic. Can you guys share a little bit more about that partnership you have with this company? Tell me the name of it again.
So it's Optimal Work. It's by Kevin Majors, and it's the neuroscience of working at your highest capacity. And one of the things, two things that they have that I love is, one is the golden hour. And so you set up kind of a scenario and space where that you are totally focused on the work at hand. And both of us juggling different responsibilities and jobs and so on. The golden hour is essential for us to really get work done and be thoughtful in our work in Solé. And so it's minimizing distractions, which are things that kind of call our attention. So whether it's a flashing phone, my space isn't clean and orderly, and so then I'm worrying about fixing things up, or I'm hungry and I haven't eaten a snack. So kind of minimizing those external distractions And then also welcoming interruptions, which being a working mom is amazing because the idea is my son needs me and needs a diaper change. So instead of being like, I need to get him and I'm still on the phone, to kind of pause one thing, give my full focus to what's at hand, and then return to the work 100%. And so it's really being present in the work that we have at hand. But the program is, so he has a master class on the neuroscience in the brain that happens when we're approaching challenges or difficulties, and how we can reframe them into something that we can really tackle thoughtfully, using our bodies and what we know about our brains. Mm-hmm. And then he also has a different program on coaching others and one on anxiety. But we worked with them to kind of think through those to create the both the habit trackers, the general goals, discussing golden hour, and so on, and to make it really something that was helpful for strong professionals.
Man, I really, really like that golden hour concept because and I think all of us have some sort of ADHD, but I have it at a really high. My daughter and my wife will tell you, my daughters and my wife will tell you, Dad's focused. But that golden hour, setting aside a time where you're literally doing the most important work that you need to do that day, and creating it and being able to check it off at the end of the day. There's obviously the psychology that you were talking about, that dopamine hit of getting something done and being able to check it off of that checkbox. Hey, I did spend my golden hour. I did contact the client, the most important client they had to contact today. I did spend that time with Carolyn and Mariana to help them understand how they're wired to work together really well. That done for that day. There's so many good concepts in the planner. I want to talk a little bit more about, you mentioned it, you talk to a lot of women, and so I'm going to give you a hard time on this, Carolyn, because I love this planner so much. And I'm like, wait, I think it's only for women. So I even called, I emailed, and I said, wait a minute, this works for men. There's 6 CEOs in Albuquerque walking around with personalized Solé Atelier planners because I loved it so much. I used it with my end of year retreat participants, and as I shared with you guys, the fabric is so nice. We were able to personalize, put our logo on it, and put their names on it. But did it start just for women, and now we're encroaching on your space, or is it for everyone? Tell us a little bit about that. Whichever of you wants to take that one on.
Mariana, do you want to go?
Yeah, sure. So thank you for bringing that up, Dan, because that's definitely a question we get a lot. Naturally, when you're a designer and you're creating a product, you start to think of the needs in your own life. So Carolyn and I, being working moms and understanding that struggle, that was what first came to mind. But I think the beauty, again, is as I was saying earlier, of planners being personal and us creating it in a flexible, simple way. Really, we realized it benefits everyone. And so when we collaborated with Optimal Work, we made sure that it was designed in a way that anyone can use it, even though if the overall brand per se was initially thought of for women. The planner, my husband has one, my brother has one, like my dad has one, definitely men can use it. And it benefits everyone with the essential elements that are in there, and the way it's designed is very simple. So that's kind of how it came in that way. Yeah.
Good. I didn't want to be encroaching on your space because like I said, I looked at it, and I'm looking at it online, and I said, I think I emailed, I had met Carolyn, and Mike had introduced us, and I said, wait, I really like this. I want to get a copy of it. So I ordered one, got it for myself, started looking through it. And I'm like, oh no, I've got a CEO retreat. Everybody needs to have one of these because we set our goals, right? We have big, hairy, audacious goals that we want to accomplish, and looking at them every month, putting them on that monthly calendar, and seeing, for me, again, being someone who can be easily distracted, I wanted to make sure I had somewhere where I could look, okay, did my top 3 get done this week? And if they didn't, why not? And that's those blank pages that you talked about at the end of every week. You can use them however you want, but I'm telling you how I use them. I write the wins on one side because they're facing pages. So I write the wins on one side. Okay, what went well this week so I can celebrate? And then on the next page, I put, okay, what are the plans for next week? What are the lessons learned? And that goes under the wins too. And then how can we make next week even better? And then you flip the page and then you fill it all in. And there again, it comes the utility of it. So guys, tell us about, you mentioned something earlier. A lot of times I hear, I've never experienced it myself, but you're on maternity leave. That's a time to kind of wind down. You guys use that time to actually build a company and launch a product. So tell us about how that went, and I'll let you guys take the stage and maybe just share some of that story.
Yeah. So I think the more I talk to women during this time, I 100% think you need to recover. So we took our time, especially me being like fully pausing work and school at that time to rest. But there's a creativity that blossoms during that time as well. We get really excited about now we're taking care of a human being, a new person and our son, daughter. And so we're like hyper focused on what do they need? What do others need? There's the service aspect that we have as mothers. So yes, it's definitely a time to slow down. But once I got kind of in the rhythm and I reached out to Carolyn and I was like, well, we have the time and this is something we both love. And it gives us this opportunity going forward to have a business that lets us set hours like we talked about earlier that works with our priorities. And so that's kind of how it came about. But definitely, I do think there is this creativity that comes in during that maternity postpartum time. I don't know, Carolyn, you agree?
I would add to that. I totally agree. And I would add to that, like, what else are you going to be doing beyond like dreaming and praying at those like 2 a.m. waking hours? Totally. And so it's a great time really to channel that energy and thoughtfulness into some lofty project, which is what we ended up doing.
Yeah.
No, thank you for sharing that. I love that you use that. And I think we all have these creative explosions, right? And we need to take advantage of them. That's the other thing. I think goals are better when we write them down. I think writing them down, we've all gone through we've all heard the motivational speaker. An idea is an idea until you write it down. Once you write it down, and then you got to get to action. And so what I love about the planner is it holds you accountable, not only for, okay, you take that idea, put it on paper. Now you've put it on paper. What are you going to do? What are the action steps? And then you get to be accountable to yourself and say, okay, did I get it done? And there's those checklists that you have, plus the partnership with your friends at Optimal Work. Tell us about what you get. Something when you buy a planner, you get a free session with Optimal Work. Or tell us a little bit more about that offering.
So they give you typically a 7-day free trial, and then on top of that, there's also a discount for being a part of Optimal Work. And honestly, I think one of the things I also love about it is helping you to think and kind of get outside the box and think of what's important versus what's immediate. As many times, I think, especially if we can be optomoms, like you're walking out the door and you notice all the 10 things that you haven't done or you want to do, and it kind of channels that focus on what's important. What do I need to focus on right now in the moment versus what's this immediate calling my attention? And so I highly recommend those classes.
Very good. I have not taken advantage of them, so I'm going to make sure and check in. How about you, Mariana? Anything you want to add with regards to your partner, Optimal Work?
Yeah, I think just the setup that they present is huge, not just with the golden hour, but how I work in general. Now I've rethought how to do that with the planner as a tool. So they have the framework of when a challenge is in front of you, how can you reframe how you approach that challenge? And also thinking about your higher ideals. So it's not just about productive work, but it's also doing work for this higher purpose. And so even though it's not necessarily explicitly for Catholics, like us as Catholics can then take that and think about our striving for sanctity and how can we maybe pick a virtue that I'm going to work hard today to focus on as I do my work, or there's someone I want to offer this up for. And so thinking through their framework really helped us then like build out that planner to support it.
Excellent. Excellent. This is another question I have, and I bet there's a story behind. Where did the name come from? Solé, Atelier. It's French. I mean, why not call it the awesome super daily Catholic planner or something? There's a reason you chose the name that you chose. Tell us about the name origin.
Totally. So the Atelier came from something, we wanted something that was creative, artisanal, thoughtfully crafted. And so the Atelier came from that. And then when we were coming up with the name, we were trying to think of like, okay, our singular, our sole purpose for our products was sanctity. And so we kind of did a play on words with purpose and then our eternal soul. And so we added an accent at the end of it for a nod to our Hispanic backgrounds and a little bit of like ole or fun. So in the end, our products are meant to help the individual user develop this personal interior life by better living in the presence of God with the end goal, like Mariana mentioned, of being sanctity.
Anything you want to add to that, Mariana?
I think, no, Carolyn hit the nail on the head with all of that and something simple and fun, unique. Yeah.
You know, as I'm listening to you guys, I want to let the audience in on your why operating systems, because we had we had both, as I always like to do with our guests, if they take advantage of it, we had them take the Y operating system discovery, and we had a conversation about it this morning. And what a great pairing you guys have. And as you heard Carolyn talking, as you hear Mariana, I think she mentioned earlier, she's an engineer and her why is right way. So she's the order, the systems, the process person. And you hear Carolyn talk about, all the fun they had in coming up with the name and adding the little fun Olé, all the things that Mariana's like, okay, how do we do that? Right. I've got to take that idea and put it into practice. So we've got right way, Mariana, and then Carolyn is challenge, better way, simplify. Mariana is going to be, I think she starts with right way and then make sense and then better way. So again, really great combination of whys that you guys use together in order to bring this project to life. When we were talking about that, tell me a little bit about what did you gain any insights? Did you learn anything new when we were going through your results? I noticed a lot of head nodding, but do you see that in yourselves as you work together, the engineer process oriented person versus the fun creative Carolyn that we saw and then that she just talked about?
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the interesting insight for mine is that it ends in better way. I always knew that I loved my processes. I've always been a planner. I've always been type A. I even talk about this with my husband. He's very much the spontaneous adventurer, and we kind of balance each other out as well. So that I knew, but the fact that it ends in better way, just like a nod to my engineering as well, that I put those processes in place to make something come to life that makes things better for others. And so I think it's been fun working with Carolyn in that sense, or just in other things I see in my life where I see other people's creative ideas, but then like making that happen is right. Where I can kind of apply my energy. So it's been fun.
We were laughing too. Well, I think it was funny when we were first coming up with the different iterations of what the planner would look like. I love blank pages. I want creative space to jot down ideas, images, and so on. And Mariana likes structure and lines. And so we compromise for our pages. And so you'll notice the in-between pages are dotted instead of blank or lines to kind of have that happy medium and to meet both needs. But I definitely see, I like getting, it was interesting for me, the end being simplify, because I do love the creative process, but I want to get at the essence of things. And so what is the core and how can we get down to the very basic root of it? And I also really love discussing and thinking about the transcendental, so truth, beauty, and goodness. And so connecting both of those made a lot of sense to me.
I love that you brought up the transcendentals, because that's something that I wanted to bring up. This is a beautiful planner. It's simple. You put a lot into into a small space. It's not overwhelming. You've done a great job. The layout is really beautiful. And so you beat me to it, bringing up the beauty of it. I think it's a very, very well designed. Guys, I'd love to talk about how you guys came together, because if you guys are guests or viewers, you're probably noticing that we're sharing the same last name here. So, but you're not sisters. So tell us about how you guys met and how you came together.
Yeah. So Carolyn and I are sisters-in-law, and I met her. I think I actually met your sister, Carolyn Eileen, first. When I was back in high school, thinking of what I wanted to study. We're both mechanical engineers. And then I met her brother in high school as well. And that's when we started dating. So I really got to know Carolyn well as we did activities together in Chicago, as I got to know her brother, and I would go visit them as a family and things like that. So really throughout college, getting to know the family really, really well. And we both ended up getting married around the same time, which was so beautiful. I think just 2 months apart, something like that. So
exactly.
Very, very close. And it was so exciting because, something I haven't mentioned is I'm the oldest of 4 as well. So even though I'm married to Carolyn's younger brother, we're both the oldest of our families, oldest girls. So just having that in common, getting married around the same time. And then we ended up having kids a week apart, our first. That was just so exciting to see how much we had in common. And so, yeah, it's been a fun adventure to see that, but like all started in friendship, getting to know her family as I was dating her brother. So,
and it was, I think we shared a lot of our dreams and ideas. And like you had mentioned in the Why Not survey, we both have that like desire to create in some sense. And so it was driving back from an event that we had both attended one night, and we're like, wow, this would be so great because there's so many Catholic planners out there. But we were inhabiting different kind of spheres, and we didn't want something that had a big sticker or a big Bible quote on the front, but really did want something that helped us have this deep into your life and have a little bit more accountability. And that took us off our phones too, because we realized, they're addicting. And so we wanted to have a little bit of distance between that. And so this was our kind of why not moment, in a sense of why not like create something on our own. But then life took over, and then fast forward a few years, we were both married. We both were expecting our first, and we're like, this is the moment to do it. And so that's kind of where it got started in our friendship, but also our company together.
I love that. So when did the idea come? So take us from idea to execution, because execution was first year was at the end of 2025, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So idea was that. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, just that, as Carolyn mentioned, there was a series of events we were going to in the city, and I would be driving her back home or things like that. We had a lot of time in the car to just kind of brainstorm. And I think it was around COVID time, or in the summer, a time when I was home from college. And so there was definitely more thought of what we could make and create and just like brainstorming. But given everything else going on at the time, we didn't have the time then. But that's when the idea came about, because we both love paper products. And so dreaming of what that combination would look like, as Carolyn mentioned. But then fast forward, like she said, to when we had our babies is when I had, and a part of where that came about is finding this program, just to give them a little plug. It's called Print School, and they do a great job of walking through what it's like to start a paper product business. And so I think when I found that too was another spark, me being again, like right way, wanting some structure. It gave me a little more assurance of, oh, others have been doing this too. And, but we took it kind of our own way and used that just as like a launch pad. And so I reached out to Carolyn at the time, and we ran from there. But it was a couple years apart. We really didn't think about it much in between. Life was going on in between, but very fun.
So I'm gonna challenge our Why Not champions. Look, it's only January. We're gonna air this in March, so we're halfway through the first half of the year. When this episode airs, go to soleatelier.com, and why not start it in March and start your second quarter with a brand new sheet? Because what's nice about the planner is you can start it whenever, and it goes through a full calendar year. So you're going to get 9 months of use out of it. You guys did a great job of marketing at the end of the year. I really liked, you had some coupons. How did it go? How was your first foray into the fourth quarter Christmas sale? What was the goal? Or you don't have to say if you hit it or not, or blew it out of the water, but if you want to share, tell us just about the experience of putting your product out there and having people actually buy it and start using it and start getting some of those testimonials, which you guys have done a great job of putting on your website.
Yeah, I think we were super excited for the pre-sale launch, actually. And that was just a testimony to our family and friends having the idea. And so obviously you can do as much interviewing and crowdsourcing as you want, but then when the rubber hits the road is really when they're paying for your product and saying, yes, I want to own this. And so that was really kind of exciting for us to be a part of this big surge in October when we were releasing it. And then I would say our biggest second surge was probably end of November, kind of around Black Friday time, when people were back and buying the planner again, and then more recently towards the end of the month. And I think it's interesting because we all have this kind of like new year, new me, new fight mindset. And so I think there was another surge in January that we were excited to see. And I think in January was really when we got out of that like family friend bubble and started expanding to kind of New Year's. I think what really helped too is we were featured in a few different articles, CatholicMom.com, Letizia, and then the Ferris Love podcast. And so I think that traction, just kind of expanding our network, was huge for us, but it definitely was a learning curve. So figuring out what is the best way to market ourselves, who should we be connecting with, we didn't, I mean, before this, I had no idea how many Catholic influencers were out there. So
Right.
little by little, something that was surprising though, I would say, is that there aren't many, at least that I've experienced, influencers who are professional and not extrovertedly Catholic, kind of under the surface Catholic, where they'll have like an image in the background, or you'll see something or hear something and be like, hey, I think they're Catholic. And that's kind of our niche market. And so right now we're connecting with kind of straight up Catholics, is obviously that's easiest, but we would love to have some more Catholic professional connections who are just doing their daily work super well, offering it to God. And there it is.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Well, my clients, my ideal clients are Catholic professionals, Catholic CEOs and founders that are in leadership positions. So those are the people you're talking to today. I work with a lot of coaches too. So hopefully we're getting them. I want everybody in my network that's using a planner to make sure they have it at the end of next year, and they're giving it away because it's very affordable too. I mean, I bought, I think I ended up buying 8 of them for everybody at my retreats plus myself. And not a single regret so far. I've been using it for almost 1 full month and about to do my first end of month review. I really, like I said, I really like the weekly check-ins, and then you have a monthly check-in. So you really get a chance to look at, okay, how did we advance towards those big, hairy, audacious goals that we set at the beginning of the year? Tell us about your goals. Where are you guys? Where do you want to take this? Where does, if everything goes perfect, where are you in 5 years? Where is Solé Atelier? What are you guys doing?
We would love to like blow it up. But some of the ideas, we love kind of our tagline is bridging the human and the divine for the striving professional. So not necessarily just paper products, but also kind of things to go under the surface. And so whether that's a scapular that you wear on your wrist as a bracelet, but that is abstract art, so everyone doesn't know that you have like the Blessed Family on your wrist, or different like physical products, even switching to an academic planner, and expanding our audience for that. We have a few ideas of the different directions we want to go, but always kind of keeping it professional and then back on the individual, on their like interior life is the idea.
Yeah. In addition to kind of more products too, just growing the community and the audience as well, because as Carolyn mentioned, this niche market in the middle of these professionals that are working just your normal average jobs, and it's not a Catholic company or anything like that. They may not even have social media. They're not necessarily in these influencers communities that we've been connecting with. And so how can we serve them, whether it's through our products, or we also have a newsletter where we share other content and different tips and motivations there as well, and inspiration, because we all need that support and that help to live out our faith in all aspects of our life, not just when we're at church or at home and things like that. So definitely growing the community as well.
Love that. Are you guys going to start a podcast? Where are you going with your marketing? I could see you answering lots of questions, having some great guests on to talk about how they plan their life. But there's something you mentioned. So answer that question. Let's see if that's a place that we're going, because I think you guys would add a lot of value to the people who are using your planners.
Thanks, Dan. It actually is something that we've been dreaming about. We also have decided that we want to be on a few more podcasts just to see how they're run, to get more like real-time experience. But it is something that we've definitely been considering for this upcoming year.
Excellent. Yeah. Excellent. Go ahead, Mariana.
Oh, no, just exactly what Carolyn was saying. We'll have to talk to you more, Dan, on the side too, and learn from other podcasters. But we love being oldest sisters as well, and giving advice to others, and then hearing from others about their experiences and how they've been going through things. So I just think the podcast platform, that process of getting to know people, but then that also serves marketing for your business, is great. And we both love it. So definitely considering it.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about a word that came up. You talk about living an integrated life. I think that's so important. And you talked about it. There are some people who, if you are, and it all depends on what it is that you do, right? As entrepreneurs, we get to choose, how we label our company, how we market ourselves, and if we choose to share our faith openly. But some people may be working in a situation where it's not as friendly towards sharing your faith, and so then they may not be openly Catholic, and you might not see the crucifix behind them or the Saint Michael the Archangel painting in the background. So tell us what that means. I'd love to hear from each of you. What does it mean to live an integrated life? And why don't we start with you, Carolyn?
So I think one example that I really love of this is years ago, I think it was an Australian reporter asked John Paul II, after going through his schedule of all that he had during the day, and it was a crazy packed day, he got to bed late, woke up late, and so on. And they said, Holy Father, what do you do in your free time? When do you have free time? And he turned to her and said, all my time is free. And so this idea of like, wow, it's free because I'm loving and I'm doing it for God, so that end reason. And so this idea of an integrated life is that we don't have this work-life balance where I'm working and it's something to kind of be avoided, but a necessary evil, and then I'm living. But that through all, I'm working and living, like that they're one thing. So whether I'm working on making a dinner, I'm working on keeping my house clean, I'm working on getting out a missive, a massive email campaign, but that all of it that I'm doing out of love. And so it's integrated. I'm one person. And that through that work or that task in front of me, I can grow in virtue, I can grow in love of God, I can serve others, my community, and so on. But just as I'm body and soul and I'm not separate, I'm the same person in each of those environments that I'm inhabiting, whether it's the cocktail hour, the board meeting, or taking care of my 1-year-old. And so that concept kind of gives a new outlook and enables us to reframe and say all of this work that's noble and good can lead towards this high end goal that we have, which is sanctity.
How about you, Mariana? What do you say about that?
Yeah, that was beautifully said, Carolyn. I think it brings a lot of purpose to everything we do. I like thinking too of, instead of prayer just being in certain moments of your day and you're taking time aside to be in a chapel and pray to our Lord or praying your rosary at the end of the day, it's really like all throughout your life is a conversation with God, and kind of keeping that in mind with this word integrated brings so much meaning to everything we do. So even small chores, or there's definitely moments at work where you're doing tasks that aren't as exciting, and how can you really keep God at the center of all of those things throughout your life, everything you're doing. And that really brings a lot of meaning. And like I said, in conversation with him through it all.
Love that. So as you were talking there, it made me think of a couple of things. You talk about throughout the day, and I love that quote. All my time is free. One of the things I've said in a couple of conversations I've had this year, integrated for me means you're the same person on Monday at work that you were on Sunday in the pew, and bringing that with you. I'd love to ask you guys this question because it's important. What gives you the courage that previous generations did not have to be so open about your faith? I think in the past it was, okay, we just faith and work are separate, and go do your job, and that's different. But we don't want to hear about your faith, or vice versa. You might just work in the faith world, but when you met with other people, you didn't bring it up. You guys do such a great job of integrating it, and I really like hearing how you guys talk about it so openly. Where does that come from? I know that probably some of it comes from your upbringing, but there's something that your generation does that other generations before have not done. And I'd love to hear a little bit more on that perspective.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite pieces is the joy that our faith brings. It's very attractive. And I think that's what our generation is noticing when they really get down to who are my closest friends, who are people living a life that I want to live. When I'm thinking of people older that I look up to and want to be like, I even throughout college, when I was meeting people that weren't Catholic and things like that, they really see, how are these people so like fun and joyful and cheerful, but also so like grounded all the time. And so when I saw that growing up, that really attracted me. And I think that's what's attracting a lot of people and gives me the confidence to live it out, because it's not this, our faith is not just like a rule book that we're following or just the religious practices. It's much bigger than that. And it brings us so much joy. And really everyone's seeking that and seeking meaning in their life. So living that out, it has been really fun. And most people that I talk to that haven't met a Catholic yet or things like that, it's attractive to them as well.
I think too, I would totally agree with Mariana. And on the flip side of that coin, I would also add that Catholics know how to suffer well. And I think today, one of the big things, just in general, that people avoid at all costs is suffering. But knowing that suffering has meaning and that you can still be joyful amidst like great suffering, I think also is incredibly attractive and allows you to see that there has to be something deeper that drives you. Otherwise, I don't know, like there's a void that's there. And like Mariana said, this joy is attractive, and this purpose and peace that you come from living your faith is very unique to Catholics. And people want that and stop and ask you, like, what makes you so happy? Or like, how are you dealing with all of X, Y, and Z? And I mean, it's directly related to our faith. And so I think it's an easy link.
I like that. It's the old St. Francis quote, right? Preach the gospel always, and when necessary, use words. So you're preaching the gospel by your actions. People are seeing the way you're living. They see your joy, and then they get curious. So I love that you brought that up. We're getting to the end of the show here. So I've got one more question. This has been such a great conversation with both of you. Thank you so much for being a part of the Lead Different podcast. As we finish the show, as we talk about all the important things, I love hearing the little voices in the background. By the way, I love that. Those are the future Madigan kids, right? Yeah. Or the current Madigan kids, future Madigan adults that are going to be doing amazing things as you guys have done. Is there, before we go, can you let us know where can people get a hold of you if somebody wants to contact Carolyn, Mariana, or wants to get a planner or learn more, make a bulk order, anything like that? What's the best way to get a hold of you guys?
So definitely you can shoot us an email at team@soleatelier.com. We're also on LinkedIn, so definitely give us a follow on LinkedIn, and then on social media, so Instagram and Facebook at Solé Atelier LLC. So you can find us in any of those venues, and feel free to reach out. We're pretty quick about responding. And then also you can sign up through our website as well. There's a place to sign up for our newsletter, and we have an awesome bi-weekly newsletter with kind of culture, beauty, work tips, and so on, and deals there as well. So if you're looking to buy your planner a little bit late, you'll be notified about the discounts as well there.
All right. So you have a bi-weekly newsletter. You guys, I put out a monthly newsletter. I was trying to do it bi-weekly. I just couldn't get enough material, but there's two of you, so I'll take some solace in that. You guys are creating, I'm sure, some great material. So sign up for the newsletter, follow them on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on Instagram. And then you can also go to soleatelier.com, right? So fabulous. Thank you, guys. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. Mike Madigan, thank you so much for introducing me to Carolyn and for providing a husband for Mariana, which I'm sure she's very thankful for. So what a great story you guys have. It's been a whole lot of fun to interview you. What do you guys say we end the show on that note?
Why not?
Why not?
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Have a great rest of your week. Why Not Leaders, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow Mariana and Carolyn. Send us your comments. If you learned something today, make sure you comment on the video. And don't forget to ask your friends to subscribe and follow the Lead Different podcast. We'll see you next week with another interview with another Why Not Leader. Thank you, Mariana. Thank you, Carolyn. Have a great rest of your week.
Thank you, Dan.
This is Lead Different.
Subscribe now. Discover a new era of leadership. Lead different, because great leaders change the world.